Hey, what's going on? It's Cody here, back to talk about what a security analyst does or might do. This video is designed for anyone that's looking to transition into the role of a security analyst. Really about whether you're technical or non-technical, it doesn't matter because a security analyst label is very general. So feel free to drop a comment below whether you were a security analyst or not about some of the roles and responsibilities you currently have. So if you were a security analyst, leave a comment about some of the things you have done. I just want to see how maybe broad your role was or how specific your role was. If you were responsible for one process or you had a bunch of different tasks you did on a day-to-day basis. If you're not in the security realm or a security analyst, leave a little comment about some of your past experiences below on this video, and let's see how we can apply your current or past roles and experiences to the security analyst role. Hopefully this video helps. And this is just meant to have these conversations in the security realm and continue to collaborate and have discussions and share our experiences so we can, make sure we don't have tunnel vision and open ourselves up. So as a security analyst on a day-to-day role, as a day-to-day analyst, you may be doing some things such as log review, looking at various logs, right? There's so many logs. Everything's logging, hopefully logging everything, right? Event logs on your end user clients, your laptops and desktops. You'll have logs on your firewalls. Your VPN is logging user activity. Your Wi-Fi devices in your offices are logging activity. Your AV agents are logging activity or not, reporting incidents. Your users are submitting tickets and opening up logs, or you're going to get logs on that. Logs and logs and logs, right? Everything is gathering activity on what a user is doing at what time. So I think one of the things you probably will be doing, no matter what your role is, at least looking at logs or sifting through logs. You're looking for activity on what happened after an incident, or you're looking to see if there's some weird behavior going on and trying to pinpoint what might be happening, what's the user doing, is this a false positive or not. So I think no matter what your role, I think at some point as a security analyst you will be looking through logs. That's one for sure thing, right? But within security there are you'll hear the term red team and blue team and then purple team, right? Red team will generally be someone on the offense. These are generally, I'm just using this generally like a penetration tester, ethical hacker, or a vulnerability manager or tester or whatever, where you're looking to break into a network or your network or a network, right? Whereas blue team is more on the defensive side. You're doing things like patch management, hardening your systems, installing antivirus, scanning systems on the defense, right? So attack, defend, hopefully thinking like an attacker, thinking like a defender, right? So you're trying to do the opposite. You're doing your role and then doing the opposite, right? And then the purple team, generally I've seen it, and this is just one thing I've seen, is they're a little bit of a combination of both. And I think probably most small companies, if you're a security analyst, will fall into that like purple realm. You may have more of one of these roles, but you'll generally have a little taste of the other one as well. Just because of the personnel requirements to fully accomplish your information security, probably company goals, right? So a little bit more about what you might do. So on the high level, non-technical side of things, right, you may be doing policy development, the information security policy, the business continuity plan, right? What happened, if an attack happens or some sort of threat is realized, how is your business going to continue to operate through this attack? And there's various things within that, right? How you're going to respond to the public, to your customers, how you're going to activate the teams, what your response times look like, all that stuff, what's critical. Disaster recovery is a part of that, so you may just be responsible for disaster recovery, or maybe part of your overall role where you're looking at what you're backing up, if you're backing things up, what that backup retention schedule looks like, how far back are we backing up, how many, what are we logging and where is it stored. That may be something you may be doing as a role. Like I said, logging is all built into that. You may be just responsible for reviewing your SIM logs or just general logs on your various devices. As you start to get a little more technical, developing the procedures, but then also looking at rules and roles, right, on your firewalls and your networking equipment, across the company, because people get promoted, they change roles, departments. You're hiring people, you're firing people, so you may be looking at doing an audit on your users in your accounts and your privilege access and looking through. And that doesn't have to be super technical, right? You can just pull CSVs of some of this access and look through. Who's this user? Should they still have an account? Or if the account was disabled, can we delete this? What's our policy say? Right. So policies, policy compliance, auditing, log review, penetration testing. So you get more on the technical side where you're trying, like I said earlier, I think, break into your network or a network, or try to break something, try to get sensitive data, try to exfiltrate data. On the other side, you could try to secure data. You could have certain tools in place where you're trying to ensure you're labeling data correctly, and people are following your policies and securing data, right? So maybe if you're on the training and communication side, or even the marketing side of things, you could be responsible for just communicating processes and procedures and compliance. And you could just come in and say, hey, make sure you do your security training. Here's the security training. You can also set up the security training, and you can be responsible for that process during onboarding. You could have a more hands-on approach. You could have a more automated approach where you set up videos and constantly do security training and remind people, hey, don't click on this, or you set up warnings and you set up alerts, right? So there's so many things, which is why it's hard to kind of make these videos, because there's so many different things you can do. I'm reading through various roles that you could probably do. You could probably Google this, right? You can do scans, looking at network traffic. You can be more. You can be more of an end user, hands-on type of analyst, where you're installing, you're making sure your devices are encrypted. You're working with users when they report phishing links, malicious websites, weird things going on their devices. You could get called in to look at those types of events or tickets, and you could be responsible for generating these tickets and just tracking your own work. Patch management. So Patch Tuesday comes out, or Critical 0 Day comes out, and you're the one that's responsible for patching all your devices, testing in your test environment, hopefully, and then rolling those out, submitting the changes. You could be responsible for the change request process, right? Just reading through a couple more here. You could do phishing, scanning, things like that. Like I said, it's more of a red team if you want, or defending against those types of things. On the email filter side, that you could be technical on that, or non-technical, setting up policies and alerts. What else? IDS. Let's see. Research, general research, compliance, more scans, reports to infrastructure on what's patched or not. Finding network configurations and fixing them, or at least reporting them. Supporting the help desk. I've generally seen that smaller company. So in a small, medium, large company, right? Small company, your role might be more broad, where you have various things. You're developing the policy on one side. You're also doing the pen testing on the other side. And the good thing about those roles is you might not be an expert in all of those things, but you're an expert in building out the policy, but you're not a pen test expert. You can shore that up a little bit with those types of broad roles. And then as your company grows into like a medium, large company, you might start to get separated out, where someone does more of the red team side and someone does more of the blue team, or someone does more of third-party risk management side of things, and you do more end user type of stuff. You can start to break these things out, which is really cool. On the large company side, you may be more, like I said, siloed, where your role is very specific, but there's also opportunity in those roles to learn from other people, to work with those other teams and gain some skills and expertise. So don't be turned off by large companies or small companies. Just reading a little bit more about what other people do. I'm just trying to give you a perspective and see if some of this stuff makes sense. Penetration tests, a lot of that. Auditing and compliance is a big one, right? Dealing with help desk requests, like I mentioned. Reporting and documentation. That's probably a big one. Is whether your role is technical or not, you need to document stuff. I think a lot of companies are looking towards security compliance, like SOC 2 and stuff like that. So documenting your processes and your procedures is going to be important. Taking screenshots of everything, documenting everything out. So if you got hit by a bus, someone can perform your duty, right? That's that's really important in the security realm. So you make sure that your responsibilities and your tasks are followed in a consistent and concise manner, right? Then there's daily stuff, like I mentioned, dealing with spam and phishing emails. That could be on the user side, users reporting it and working with users, or on the automated side where you're getting reports and following up, looking for false positives, adjusting your filters, things like that. I think that adjustment side is constant. Your AV tool, your anti-phishing and anti-malware tools, your patching tools need that constant adjustment. So you'll be looking at those things and making adjustments. So that could be super technical if you want. And you can build out your own tools. You could be using a third-party tool and be a little less technical and just kind of making adjustments on those pre-configured filters. Web filtering, setting firewall permissions, investigating just stuff that gets reported by tools. Security operations work, that's kind of a general thing. I hope this helps. Sim tuning, responding to incidents, project work, yeah, automating workflows, setting up environments for analysis, implementing new controls, yeah. Researching new things is a big one. Getting your eyes out there, seeing what the new tools are, but also what the new threats and vulnerabilities are. Making sure your things are patched, so you need to be the eyes and ears, right? Whether your role is technical or not, we talked about logging and documentation, but also constantly looking at what's new out in the world and making sure you follow up on those issues. Overall, though, as a security analyst, if you have questions, leave a comment below. I'm happy to answer and respond to whatever you have to ask. But as a security analyst, I've generally had a wide variety of roles and responsibilities. But I've really enjoyed the role, which is why I've stuck around for a number of years and will continue to hopefully be an analyst, right? I love all the various things that come with being a security analyst. Like I said, it's such a broad term because you can be in policy development, but also be on the super technical side of things. So it could be very high level, non-technical, to very technical, very, very technical, secure code development, networking, configuration, stuff like that. So there's so many opportunities to learn. So if you love to learn, if you're looking to learn or learn new skills or transfer your skills into this role, I think there's a role for you somewhere. And I think it's a really cool opportunity if you're looking to learn. I think that's the biggest thing is make sure, have a willingness to learn and be coachable, right? Because each company may have their way of doing things, but there's so many different, you're not going to be an expert in everything as a security professional. But there's always an opportunity to learn something new and at least have a little bit of perspective. And then maybe your perspective, technical or not, may make those current people in that company or role think, open up their perspective to how things are done, which is really cool. That's where diversity comes into play with the security analyst and cybersecurity realm. But anyway, like I said, drop a comment below. I just wanted to give you a little bit of some of the things that I've done. A lot of logging, documentation, policy development, and then working with users. Some of the stuff I like to do. I like the communication aspect of the security analyst role. But like I said, you might be more on the policy development side, almost like more of a senior analyst manager type of thing, where you're just on the incident side, responding to incidents, managing people, managing the help desk queue, managing the network configurations, or just approving things, almost like a pseudo CISO. And that's sort of where these roles can lead to those more managerial roles. Network engineering and things like that. So there is a place for you somewhere in the cybersecurity realm, and I'm happy to help and have these conversations. So get out there and let me know if you have a question or comment. I'm happy to help. Thank you, everybody.